So why are you here today?
I don't know really. I've been feeling pretty anxious lately.
Well, is there anything I can help you with or something that's been bothering you or on your mind lately?
I just keep having these thoughts that tell me something's wrong or that I need to check everything.
Okay, and what happens with these thoughts? Do they go away or do they keep repeating in your head?
They keep repeating and get louder until I do it, and it's the only thing I can think about.
When do they usually come? All throughout the day or a specific time or night?
Usually at night when I'm trying to fall asleep, but they can surprise me at any time.
Is there anything else that triggers these thoughts to come?
Usually when I'm about to leave the house or go to sleep.
Have you ever talked to anyone else about this?
No, not really, just you.
What are some thoughts you get when you are about to leave the house?
Well, I have to check the stove to make sure it's off a bunch of times and turn all the dials clockwise until they're all off. That's just one of the many things I have to do. And then when I finally do leave, till I lock the door, and then I click the handle a bunch of times just to make sure that it's actually locked before I leave.
And is there any specific numbers that you do when you're doing this, or is it just like how you're feeling that day?
Normally when I'm like checking to make sure the door is locked, I'll count to 1, 2, 3, about 4 times, and then on the 4th time I'll count really slow, and then I'll look at it and stare at it for 30 seconds to make sure it's actually locked, and then I'll turn my head and keep saying it's locked before I go into my bed.
And is this just when you're leaving the house or just when you're about to go to sleep?
When I'm about to go to sleep.
So you don't do any of this when you're just leaving the house?
When I'm leaving the house, I kind of click on the door handle a bunch of times. I count 1, 2, 3, 1, and then I leave. That's every time I leave the house, I count like that.
So it's less intense when you're just leaving the house than rather going to bed?
Yeah, because I'm more worried if somebody's gonna come in when I'm home and when I'm sleeping.
Okay. And how do you feel before versus after you do these things?
Before, I feel very anxious and get more and more anxious, and after, I feel relieved, like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
So do any of these thoughts ever pop into your mind when you're out with friends or maybe doing errands?
No, not usually, but sometimes it can happen.
Is it worse or better when it happens around people or by yourself?
It's worse because people kind of judge me about it and tell me to stop, and it makes me kind of feel insecure about what I'm doing, and maybe it might be stupid that I'm so worried.
And when you're around people and it happens, do you stop or is it just on your mind still?
It's still on my mind, I can't stop thinking about it until a couple hours later.
So until you go home and you're by yourself, you do it?
Yeah.
Do you know anyone else that has something similar to you or any of the same symptoms maybe?
My grandma does it.
Has anyone ever brought concern to you about this?
Yes. Mom and my sister sometimes bring it up that I'm kind of over exaggerating about what I'm doing, that I'm just kind of very anxious about keeping everything safe, even though everything is going to be fine always.
So have you ever heard of the term OCD or has anyone ever brought it up to you?
Yeah, once or twice.
And do you know anything about it or what it stands for?
Not really.
There's 4 types of OCD, and one of the ones that sounds most fitting for you, I think, is checking. That's when obviously you're worried about everything, checking everything multiple times. Does that sound like you?
Sounds familiar.
And there's also contamination OCD, hoarding OCD, and intrusive thoughts OCD.
What do those mean?
So contamination is when you're basically afraid of germs.
Oh, okay.
And cleaning everything all the time. Hoarding is when you're keeping everything, you're scared to throw stuff away. And intrusive thoughts is just you're having just all these thoughts in your head all at once, and it's just making you so anxious all the time. So I think you might have a combination.
So you think I might be both?
Yes.
Both checking and intrusive?
Yes. And you said you're anxious when these happen. So all of OCD leads to anxiety. It's a form of anxiety.
I really didn't know that.
Have you ever taken any medication for it?
No, I haven't.
So what I would recommend for you to do is to go to your doctor and get some medication for it, and it will calm down your anxiety when you're having these thoughts.
Okay, thank you.
It will not completely stop it, but it will most definitely help you.
Subside them?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, thank you.